Hello, hello, hello. About 3 minutes after 10 o'clock on this Friday, the 13th. And it only seemed fitting for a spooky holiday like this. I was trying to think of a transition. I don't think it's going to work. Sorry. Everyone, you know this guy saying next to me, say hello to meteorologist Carson Meredith.
Hello.
Here this morning. And Carson, how you doing?
I'm good.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I know a lot of you have wanted this collaboration for a while.
They've talked about. You can go ahead and turn all of it.
Sure.
Yeah, they'd rather hear us anyway, probably. Yeah, that's something we talked about. Although I think they were probably expecting either Ryan Hall, y'all, or Jim Cantori, or John Belsky to show up. So you got some big shoes to fill here for expectations, right?
I'll do my best. But
yeah.
Don't make any promises out there.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
We've talked about this a lot. You have a chance to join. I know sometimes the vlogs in the morning always the time frame, and today is no different, by the way. It will be a tight time frame, but it is always fun to have other thoughts and opinions and just kind of casually talk about the forecast and the chance to talk to these fine, lovely folks at home.
Yeah, let's. Here's Sean. See, he's been asking for this for weeks. We got it. We got the collab. Crispy says double trouble.
Double trouble.
I would agree.
Yeah, well, especially on Friday the 13th.
Let's see. Hi, Aaron. Should have had me. Let's see. Hello. Who else is here? Yeah, Sean, that was funny. Ann, hello.
Yeah.
Nikki, double feature indeed. So we'll be sticking around here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Still have plenty to talk about.
We do. We're going to cover several aspects of how this is going to play out for the end of the month into March. I do want to do a side note since I have a lot of the SnowTALKers on here. Is Adam on here?
I haven't seen him yet.
Or Cameron? I haven't seen.
I haven't seen either of them.
All right. Well,
don't see him yet.
I'm sure they'll join in a minute, but I did learn that coming up in May, and I'll let everyone know the date, but coming up in May, there will be another episode of Brian After Dark.
There will be.
Yeah, story time.
That was a very big hit you had. the 1 year or one night last year you had it.
I don't think I said anything about the weather.
No, you didn't.
No.
Because I came in Saturday morning and I watched it.
Oh, okay.
While I was getting ready for the Saturday
You were that bored? Yeah.
I was. It was a quiet weekend.
Well, anyway, I'll let you know the dates on that, and we'll have some fun with that down the road. All right. So let's get right into it. And again, we'll get into your questions. You guys are on social media on YouTube, X, Twitch, as well as Facebook. And Carson is taking care of you all today. And then if you see something interesting or funny or witty or something that's inappropriate, which he'll ban you for,
Yes, I will.
we'll all talk about it. All right. But let's start with the snowboard. We'll begin there. And that is where we're going to start with at least the same kind of two items. And Carson, it's really hard to kind of put anything on these particular details. So I'm very vague on this still, where it still looks like maybe rain to flurries at the end of next weekend, not with the system this weekend. I don't think, I love that music sometimes.
I didn't want to forget it.
Thank you. This comforts me sometimes. It's peaceful.
Soothing.
It's a very chaotic world, Carson.
That's right.
Sometimes you just have to have these moments.
Nice zen.
Yeah.
Peace.
Even when you talk about a major snowstorm, we can handle it.
We could have used this 3 weekends ago now.
It's all about the zen, Carson.
That's right. So here's our 2 chances on the board at this point. No changes from what Brian talked about yesterday.
Yeah, it's really not, there's not a strong blast of cold air at work here. This is all iffy stuff on marginal and really a change of air masses that will come into play that would allow for anything wintry. The second one, and I changed the dates and just went very vague on this, late February, early March, and I'll show you why we did that coming up in just a second. All right, let's get into a live view there. Hubert's Orchard and Winery. I can't tell if that pond is still frozen over or not. This was the area that was thawed before. It still looks like it may be.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising.
And these 2 trees here are like keeping that snowplow alive for as long as possible. I still have the side of my driveway is still a fortress, like the wall in Game of Thrones.
Most of my apartment complex is cleared. You just have these big snow mounds that you have in these parking lots that won't go away till probably April. No, I can't. But
well, no, you may be right.
Maybe.
Those are things are really, like a fortress, right? And some are not the kind of color that you would really think of on snow. So
no,
don't try to eat them.
Tread lightly.
Yeah.
Tread lightly.
Be careful with that as you venture out. We're basically past a lot of the refreezing issues. I can't roll it out, obviously, in some parking lots, but major issues with that are out of the way. And this rain coming this weekend is going to eliminate a lot. It was cold and frosty. I had to spend some time getting the frost off the car this morning. So it was certainly I wouldn't say frigid setup, but it was just that cold, crisp setup this morning. And to think that we were below 0 not long ago and we're complaining about upper 20s, lower 30s. Yeah, it doesn't take long for us to forget, right? 35 in Louisville now, 37 down into Bardstown. Carson, can you still see the snowpack?
Just barely up there near Seymour.
Yeah,
Seymour, North Vernon, where we had those reports of 16 inches of snow a few weeks ago. Still holding on to that pack up there, but maybe up into Ohio. Southern Ohio. But by and large, the snowpack, like we just talked about, is pretty much gone. Just little patches.
Yeah, and it's really, you can tell these are the spots that were the bigger winners, right, on the snow.
Right.
This is where it stands out, is when they're the last to melt. You can really get an idea of how isolated those really big 15-inch plus totals that took place. Although I'm really, to be honest, I'm glad that's just gone. All right, let's get rid of that one. That was a mess. All right, here's our next one that we're waiting for. So it's still wet. This has been a slow mover here to get out of the Eastern Pacific. So this means that we get to enjoy a quiet day today.
Bright blue, crystal clear blue.
Yeah.
Not really much in the way of clouds at all.
Very, very pretty setup today. I mean, you're not going to get a suntan or anything, but it will be a nice, comfortable sun up, double nickel, more than likely later on today. And when you get mid 50s on a light wind, it's actually not bad.
No, it's very, very comfortable. These are my favorite days. These crystal clear blue, maybe a little warmer, but beggars can't be choosers.
And when you see the squirrels out in the yard digging, or when you start to hear the birds chirping, it just gets you that little bit of that moment you remember as a kid when you came out of winter and spring was about to show up. It gets you a little excited, like, it's almost here. And I'm a snow lover, but you got to love those moments. And today is one of those.
And there comes a point when it's just time. I know, but
time. It is.
We're getting
I agree. I really do like all this, how the seasons change. Summer is probably my least favorite.
Me too.
But I love how everything changes because I think if we didn't have these changes, we wouldn't appreciate each of the seasons to begin with. So it's the stark differences that matter.
Well said.
All right. So here we go, Carson. We're going to go, we'll start with just short term, right? We'll get to this rain blob that's coming our way. We got some time for it. So this is, again, our in-house model that now has a more consistent update every other hour, which is nice.
And what we were talking about in the office yesterday is it's very clean when we show you guys Futurecast now. It's a nice and crisp view on Futurecast. Just looks good.
Very smooth. Let me show you. So the rest of the day, we're good. No problems. Tomorrow morning, you got to get up early, you're fine. Now you start to see the marks there. It's a sign. Obviously, the moisture is increasing. This will be very high deck. So we actually will have a really nice sunrise tomorrow morning. But because with the sun rising from the east, we'll actually hold on to a hazy sunshine scenario all the way through about probably 1 o'clock until the thicker clouds fly over and meet up where the sun angle is at that point in the sky. So the morning actually won't look too bad. The afternoon will look and feel a bit different there. And then we get the rain. And as we talked about, the system's got a lot of dry air.
Yes, it does.
To overcome. It's been interesting to watch. The models really battle on, we'll show you a rainfall outlook on how much could fall. And there's several things happening. You've got the core of the low itself, the surface low down into areas of Mississippi, kicking up maybe some severe weather out of this. You also have the upper low, which is creating a nice little, we call it deformation banding there into the show me state and parts of Illinois. And then you've got what we have a bit of a gap between the two, which is where some of Kentucky and Indiana will fall. But where, good question, but there has been no doubt a trend at times to keep trying to lower these totals down. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because the air is drier than what the models think. And once it catches up, we will get a little bit more of a true reality of a rainfall forecast. I'm only mentioning that because I think that will be a player for next week's rain chance as well that we'll circle back around. But here we are, 8 o'clock, light rain moving in. And then Carson, during the overnight, looking like a soaker.
And I will say tomorrow night, because tomorrow night's a big night.
It's a very big night.
It's a very big night. Yeah. If you have plans, Brian mentioned this yesterday, it may feel more like just drizzle to start off.
Yeah, a very annoying drizzle.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're gonna put fix your hair up, guys, use that special type of gel and styling cream you've been trying to save it for a long time for this particular night. Hopefully it's got good holding power there because I mean it will be a steady drizzle, but there's no doubt you'll need the rain gear.
Yes.
You'll need an umbrella, that kind of stuff. But will you be waterlogged if you didn't have it? Probably not. You should still, if you walk fast enough, you should be all right. But the change will be the second half of the night. It will become a little bit more of a moderate rain, widespread. I mean, look at that. That's just about every county. Notice the yellows, by the way, that indicates much more of the moderate to, in some cases, heavier rain. That still looks to be a little closer to the core of that low down in Tennessee.
So late tomorrow night, really past 10, 11, midnight, that's when this more steady rain starts to pick up. And it'll stick around through at least the first half of the day on Sunday. We're still trying to nail down exactly when this rain shield, if you will completely exit. Some models suggest around midday Sunday, but a lot of times these setups are a little bit slower by a few hours compared to what we see on the modeling. So it might be more of a Sunday afternoon before we start to see this more steady stuff wind down.
You have any Valentine's?
I do not. I will be right here with you guys tomorrow night. That's where I'll be.
Well, that sounds like a lot of love to me.
It is.
There you go.
It's a labor of love.
That's a lot of love there.
Yes, it is.
All right, folks, heading out to services Sunday morning. My mom's already been asking about this.
Yes.
It will likely still be wet, still being spray being kicked up on the roads. But by the time you get out of services, it should really be winding down and if not end altogether. But the roads will remain wet for a bit longer. There's not a lot of wind with this, so the roads will stay damp and wet. We're hoping you almost want a steady enough rain to do its best to get as much of that residue from the calcium chloride off the roads so that you don't have to keep washing the car here. This should do it. There may be a few cases where it may not get the heavy off the car and you're going to have to get the car washed with more powerful jets there to get that off of there. But this will take care of the most of it.
Yeah, by and large. There might be as far as, okay, we're going to have slick spots to deal with. It's going to get really cold behind this.
Yeah.
No. Don't really have to worry about that a ton. So we had Sunday night.
Everything was, that's a lot easier to manage. A little bit of fog even hit there on Monday morning, which makes sense. Wet ground, lack of wind, clear skies. There you go. Jinx. Then you're on track for that point on. Rainfall, we mentioned this. We're going to keep trending to see how this averages out. You can tell that it's not uniform on that. There's some patchy amounts, but I would say everybody has a good chance at I would say a good half inch of rain. I think that's fair. Will we go over 1 inch? I don't know yet. I think the models are still running just a little bit too high on that. I would say the half inch to 1 inch range, that's fair, but over 1 inch, I would like to see a little bit more consistency on that come into play, because when you get thunderstorms that are vertical, like they will be up and down into areas with likely I-55 corridor, that's where you run into problems where that blocks the deeper moisture due north of where they're flying, and that would include I-65 as well. And when you have that type of training effect that ends up blocking the deeper moisture here, it kind of chokes off our rain totals. Same way with snow, it happens. It can be a bust on snow. It can do the same with the heavier rain potential, and it can displace it. It can, not to get too in the weeds on this, but it can choke some areas here just north of the thunderstorms where lower amounts of rain fall, but still in Indiana, you're getting some of the energy that's moving in from the upper low of Missouri, so you can actually get higher totals in some cases north and not south. And it's like a gap that forms. It gets a little complex.
Yes.
But again, I don't want to get into the weeds. I already did that anyway. So I'm going to dig myself out by saying this is going to be a good soaking rain. Half inch is fair for most of you watching. Some of you a little less, some of you a little more. Don't be surprised. What we do not see, thank goodness, is a huge flooding concern.
Yeah, remember, I think it was this weekend a year ago, we had that first flooding event, especially across Kentucky. We do not expect that kind of a setup tomorrow night into Sunday. This is just a good soaking rain. It'll be really good sleeping weather tomorrow night.
And I like that idea.
Yes.
And you know what? And we had issues with ice jams, especially in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
That's right.
That were causing a jam of issues with flooding that channeled all the way down into the Ohio River Basin as well. So a very similar setup to last year on that end. It was just a bit colder a little later into the period in February last year, but they've been interesting winters back to back.
Yes.
Okay, before I get into some of the good news here, what you got there?
Just scrolling. Adam's here, by the way.
Oh, hello, Adam.
There you go. What happened with the weather ambassador that we talked about at the beginning of SnowTALK season?
Snow ambassador. Well, she's quite shy. She is actually going to be here at the station coming up next week. I don't know if I can get her on to the blog or not. I will try. If not, I can probably get her on TV. That may be easier. Yeah, she's really funny. She really is hilarious. So I tell her that like you got the spot for TV here, but I think it's just the equipment and all that can be can make her a bit nervous. But hopefully you will see her next week.
So Elizabeth is asking, okay, you asked about my Valentine's Day plans. And I told you I'll be here. Elizabeth wants to know about yours.
I am going to more than likely be eating some chicken tenders.
Oh,
yeah, and watching another episode of The Pit.
I haven't seen that yet. Is it good?
It is very good.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do like it. But I don't know about eating and watching at the same time. It's a little
interesting.
Now, I do have a Valentine's dinner the next day.
There you go.
Sorry.
It's not always about the day itself.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
And I'll watch Carson too in the morning.
Thanks.
To make sure he doesn't feel so long. You're welcome, buddy. Anytime. All right. So as we get into next week, this is where we get into some good news to share with you all. And that is where we're going to get a nice little bubble of warmth out. The sacrifice to that will be wind. It will become windy, but it will warm up. Models, as we know, around here tend to underplay warming events. The only thing we got to be cautious about is going to be areas still to the northeast. This is still going to be quite chilly for sure because the snowpack is going to keep the numbers down. So you're going to have a lot of warmth battling against that and trying to push it out of the way. I'll likely have to fly over it, of course. But I think as far as wave country goes at the moment, we should be in a good spot to what we call overachieve. Just because we're seeing a good wind signal, that's a good indicator of mixing the air, we call it. So that allows a little more confidence on the thermometer being able to move up.
Tuesday, I think it was this week, we overachieved massively.
Oh, yeah.
We got close to 70. And
we thought 62 may have been a stretch.
We
went way up there.
I'll be honest, last Sunday, I had 57.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the kind of setup we're talking about. When you get the southerly flow like this, it's a perfect recipe for overachieving. And 72 on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, that would be near record territory. I think the record is 73.
That's right.
So we're going to be getting close to it on Wednesday for sure.
And if we don't get to 70, say we don't, all right, say we have some high clouds that may stream in rapidly from, because it will be a little busy to the north of us, and I'll show you that in a second. So there will be a lot of high clouds streaming in, and sometimes when you get these domes of high pressure like this, they will tend to curl. Whoop. I love when the marker does that.
Don't you?
The curl of some of those cirrus can wrap around and could influence us. So sometimes that can shave off a degree or two. All right, don't stress on that. That's for us to worry about. But if we don't get it then, we could get to 70 even the next day for your Thursday. So it's really a warm 48 hours, it looks like, that we have coming our way. I already got the crocuses coming up in my yard, which is pretty typical this time of year. But out in the weather garden, the tulips have already poked through.
Have they really?
They've already poked through. Wow. So I hope that if we were to get any more, say, sub-freezing nights, a lengthy amount of teens especially coming up, which we could get.
Yes.
I hope we do get snow, because that's about the only thing that will protect a lot of these early blooms like that. Otherwise, it'll start damaging some of the perennials there. So, all right. So as we get into, let's see, that's the highs. We didn't go to Thursday. We stopped at Wednesday there. All right. So here is the same thing, but looking at just precipitation as always. There's your typical rain snow line, that blue line there, the stretched out. The Northeast, they're just like, hey, wait a minute. Everyone's talking about how warm it is.
What about us?
We are freezing here. I mean, they're still talking about maybe getting below 10 at times and still could get more snow. So they are going to be the exception. They're going to have a tough time warming up. So if you have friends or family in Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine, even Boston, it's going to be tough to really have a lot of warm air in the coming days. But for us, we are going to enjoy the warmth. This is what's fascinating, though, Carson. Look at this boundary of warmth that goes into Canada. It's like a whole shield. You can imagine that warm air, like a wave, crashing into that Arctic air that's still, it's stale Canadian air now. But it's crashing into it, and you get this whole big band of ice and snow that goes from one end to the other. Pretty wild to see that.
Yeah, and we will be on the opposite side of that shield, which means we'll stay nice and warm, at least for the middle part of next week. Towards the end of next week,
different story there.
Different story.
Well, and I mentioned how we were watching the moisture levels for this rain setup for this weekend, how that could be a player for this setup too. Notice how the rain, we talked about how the Cape keeps trying to show up here in that area of St. Louis to Indy. It keeps trying to develop showers and storms. The low itself will be right there is where it'll be tracking, and it's going to be heading due east instead of a southeast or northeast. It's due east. So as it scoots along, it's going to have a tough time on trying to gather enough of a flow here to produce showers and storms. So this is an interesting setup, because if we were to get anything that can pop, it would actually have a decent chance to become strong with some gusty winds, maybe some hail and some lightning, but there'd be very, very isolated little cells that would pop. The problem is that sometimes when you get into a dry setup like we're going to be in and have been, that the models can get a little too excited with these breaking out, and we end up underperforming on the thunderstorm side. I did check the CSU. I didn't put it in the system, but it does have generally the same area on a very low end severe risk during this time period, even though we see nothing on, at least on the Euro here, nothing on the surface side of things being reflected. But it's something that we'll have to watch. It wouldn't surprise me. That may be just something we just can't see until we get within 12 to 18 hours.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. In these kind of setups, it's so isolated. These longer range models, the Euro, the GFS, the Canadian, whatever, they can't see this stuff. So we have to really wait until we get high-res data towards late Monday, especially Tuesday, before we may start to see some stuff popping as we get towards Thursday, especially. It looks as though.
Yeah, so we can't roll out some, a few gusty thunderstorms later in the week. But for those that are always asking about severe weather and, how bad will they be, we can't answer that. We're still in this mix of winter and springish weather showing up. So we're not into the ability, like in the spring and summer, it's easier to sniff out severe weather events. And so it's harder for that. And it's not as easy as it is, as it was earlier, to figure out and pick out winter storms. So we're in this very odd no man's land here of late February into March. It's always a toss-up period, typically, of the two battle of the seasons that happen. So it's one of the more frustrating parts of the year, because if you like a challenge in forecasting, you model watchers out there, if you like a challenge in that and you like surprises,
this is your time.
This is your time, or disappointments. But you can get some interesting stuff sometimes. This pattern. All right, so let me advance this. Now, I mentioned this yesterday. There is this drop that happens behind that wave that scoots east. I still think that is interesting to see as we approach the weekend, because we've got a very active storm track here. We've got systems, pieces moving in from the Pacific Northwest, and we still have a subtropical jet throwing energy at us as well. For now, what has been showing up is they tend to want to stay parallel. They're staring each other down, but going in the same direction. There's not a lot of movement in the cold air sliding south or north. It's kind of just staying status quo. So how do you get a winter storm scenario in this kind of environment? Well, you've got to get a strong enough low that can pull the cold air down into the storm. Right now, some of these lows, especially the euro here, relatively weak with this as it moves on by, and a weak low is not going to be enough. Similar to this weekend, the low pressure is relatively weak, so it really can't pull and tug down. We may get an update on this model in about, what, 2 hours?
A couple hours, yeah.
And it may be a stronger low. And then suddenly it may show a snowstorm in Kentucky or Tennessee. It hinted at something like that yesterday.
Yes, it did.
So that's what the model is doing, though, is the intensity of that southern piece is what's going to matter. We're not going to know this. It's going to give you whiplash for a while. Just know that, yes, if we do see a stronger southern piece, then we could get a little bit more of a wintry component as we head into next weekend. And that's where it ends up on the snowboard. We just don't know yet how it will play out.
And it may be like this weekend. You know, at first, we thought we might have a bit of a mixture this weekend.
Right.
Now we know it's just going to be rain.
And it's just be a big blob of rain.
And it could be a similar setup here if we keep this weaker low idea going heading into next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
The track is there, though.
So. It is interesting. And it's a couple little waves that move on by. And then the model stops there, although it stops that we can see further out. There is a chance still to get the same idea, though, that as these systems roll on by here, that it's just really a matter. And it's the same idea of phasing, to be honest. If there's a piece that drops down, they can phase in with some type of southern feature or an Appalachian runner, app runner, we call those. Then you can get some excitement for winter events. But I don't want to wish cast stains either. I'm not trying to say that something's going to form. I'm just saying that this is an interesting pattern. It could be worse. It could be a full-on ridge, and it's going to be warm all out, and we're looking at 80s or something. You know, it's not like that. So it's still got some wiggle room, and I don't think anyone should be really going with it's going to get cold and snowy or it's going to be warm and winter's over. You shouldn't be in either camp. You should still be very cautious on a long-term forecast with this kind of a pattern for a while.
Because quite honestly, the solution at the end of the day is going to be a mix of both.
You're exactly
right.
From
time to time.
Oh, Carson, you know what this is, right?
Oh, yes, I do. I look at it every day.
You love the Matrix.
I do. Not as much as you, but I do.
I know. I print them out and put them on Montello.
That is true.
That's not true. Okay, let me be a little true. All right. This is the new long-term Matrix. Okay, this takes us all the way through the end of March. Can you believe that? You know what? That is not a bad signal.
No, it's not.
For the month of March, it really has the whole month encompassed in it. Notice, again, each ensemble line is where it has the snowfall amount. You want to see once it places a line on the map, it stays that way until it changes color to indicate another system moves in. So you want to see where there's a change in color in those bars. And you can almost see at times where a storm system approaches. Well, there's obviously a signal that starts here. And that's going to put us, what is that?
26, 27.
20, yeah, that's late. That's
late.
A while. Yep. And then there's another little jump right here.
That would be between March 9th and 13th.
And maybe another one right there.
Right around the first day of spring.
Wow.
It seems like almost every year.
We were telling our first day of spring snowstorm stories yesterday. Yeah. I've been through, I know 2, maybe 3
2018
that have been on the first day of spring here. Yep. So that is a notorious date, almost like, January 17th this year. So anyway, well, it's interesting. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but when you still have an ensemble forecast that is that lit up, it still is saying that winter is not over. And when you look at the map on temperature side of this too, by the way, it does have somewhat of a, milder look early March, but it's pretty close to being below average. It's not exactly either way on the scale, but it does tip over mid to late March. And you can see how the cold air just kind of just spills over a good chunk of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes in the Northeast. And this is where people are going to start getting frustrated, though, with this, Carson.
Yes.
Because now everyone wants to enjoy spring. They want to enjoy being out and planning and gardening or preparing to do the gardening and landscaping ideas. But the idea that it's still cold and there's snow chances, that's where people get upset.
But as we have talked about with March snows, it's not like January most often where you've got this Arctic cold that sticks around for 10 plus days. So it just sticks around. The roads are still a mess. We'll have these fluctuations to where if we do get snows in March, wouldn't be on the ground for more than 2, 3, maybe 4 days at a time. So that's why we said March snows are a little more fun.
They are.
Because they don't paralyze the city for days on end.
Yeah. They're so pretty.
They are.
They stick to everything. There's nothing more majestic other than a morning of an ice storm when the sun lights up the trees in the morning.
Yeah.
That's the only positive. It's an ice storm, by the way, but it is beautiful. You can't deny that image when you look at the window. It's just, it takes your breath away. Same with a wet snow that falls during the overnight and you look outside in the morning and you see everything just covered up in the snow. It is very, very pretty and it's very peaceful. But speaking of that, once we get to this point in the year, I've alluded to this many times, but if these are daytime snows, we're going to be on the lower end of our outlook. If they are nighttime events, your odds of getting and accumulating snow go up. But daytime versus nighttime, not as much of a factor in January. It's a big factor in March.
Yes, it is.
So that's something we'll be watching. All right. So here is what I think Travis was commenting on. Oh, yes. The polar vortex. Okay. So where is that? Where's the little buddy at here? Well, you're looking at the bald spot of the northern hemisphere, as they say. Here's where we are right here. And you're looking at what it says, wait a minute. That's, man, that looks warm in the Arctic and it looks cold all over the place in Florida right now. I get that because that's what you're trained to see with those kind of colors. But you're looking at the very top layer of the atmosphere here, not the top layer, but way up high into the stratosphere. And when you're getting to that level, you've got to start inversing this. So what you're looking at is actually warmer air that is aloft, all right, in the North Pole, which means it's very cold, 15 to actually colder than that. I would say 70 below zero for wind chills, especially in the North Pole.
Yep.
And on the inverse side, where you've got a colder look, it actually means it's warmer. It's reversed. It's kind of flipped. So what we're looking at is to see when we get the warmer colors to move into, not necessarily over us, just closer to us to where they can be reached. Well, they're sort of there into southern Canada, which is the reason why we're still in this iffy zone as we get into March, where it's still reachable. A storm that can pull into that absolutely can still create some winter storms. But this is not your below zero stuff that's brutal. All right, this is typical cold. Your brutal stuff is up here. Now, as we go along into late March, now we're going to get to the point where eventually the polar vortex is going to be much harder for us to deal with, as we'll go to its home base and just hang out there for the rest of the year, or at least the rest of the summer coming up. But it does, there's a frame missing here because I didn't get a chance to load it, but it does what we call a stretched event, and it stretches briefly like this. It then gets back into a ball shape then as we head into late March. So that is interesting. This is still pretty far south into Canada that it needs to be watched. And you see that angle right through here, the blues in the eastern United States. That's a good indicator of a very active storm track as we continue into March. So we're going to be busy. There's still going to be warm air play. I think this is going to be best described as a yo-yo month.
Indeed.
I think it's what March will be.
It's not going to be all one or all the other. That's what we want to keep emphasizing. It's going to be, quite frankly, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and and this includes thunderstorms. And we may have thunderstorm threats at times. We may get backlash, lighter snows that then lead into a clipper or a southern storm that may have a snow event. And then you come out of that, everything melts and you warm back up rapidly with a lot of wind and you're in the 70s. You're enjoying it again, and then another round of thunderstorms, and then you get flurries, and then a clipper snow, and then a southern snow. It repeats itself, and this pattern, especially with it still showing a blocking setup, may repeat itself. So that's the reason why March is going to be very much just a very big whiplash type of a month coming our way. And I've been waiting for what we call the full-on stratospheric warming. Not to get too in the weeds on this, what you're looking at here is the green. The green is the forecast. And once it crosses that line, that is when you have a full-on it's displaced. It's a stratospheric warming event officially in the books is what it's considered. And that's when you really got the cold air away from the North Pole. It's on the move somewhere. Some cases it could be Europe. It could be here, or as we just witnessed, it's split and went into both areas. So the last time it did that was November 30th, which was one of the earliest, I believe, on record of crossing that line. And yeah, we've had cold air. Look, you don't have to have, hello, baby. You don't have to have it drop the line to get obviously the brutal cold. We had that in January, but the forecast is that it will do a displacement. There's a lag here that happens. Once it does that, there can be a delay, which would mean if it touches the line, that would be right about March 1st, there will be a delay of about 1 or 2 weeks, which makes sense why you're seeing the new long-range Euro trying to show a bit more of a snow uptick further into March, because then we get the delayed effect. The only thing I'm cautioning on, and I zoomed in on this for a reason, is notice the red is what has been observed, green is the forecast. Notice it is a little slower on reacting to the warming process. So it's still a forecast to do that.
Right.
Whether or not it does the full-on dip there, well, that's a good question, because if it doesn't, then we won't be having as much of a cold outlook later in March.
And that's just something we'll continue to trend in the days and weeks to come. So
yeah,
winter is not done yet.
Yeah, it's in the second, third quarter.
It's on a break.
Yeah, we're almost there, but you know, at least this is going to be the first year that I can recall that I think Valentine's Day will not have any weather drama, especially in wintry form, because we tend to always have something
right around here.
Yeah.
So we can just a little rain. That's all we have tomorrow.
All right, Carson, take us through the 10-day.
Yeah. So you see all these ups and downs on the way. Today's perfect. Get outside and enjoy it. Just need a light jacket. 55. Double nickels, right?
Double nickels.
There you go.
Yeah.
So first half of the day tomorrow, maybe a hazy sunshine. It's not till late afternoon when you start to see some of that drizzle. And then as the night goes on, that rain fills in. We keep that rain around at least through the first half of the day on Sunday. Start to dry things out Sunday afternoon. Monday, Tuesday are quiet. Wednesday, that record watch, the high of 72. And then we get into next weekend, and we'll just have to continue to trend what that potential southern low would have for next weekend. Not this weekend's southern low, next weekend's. See if it has enough strength to pull down some of that colder air to give us a little more wintry mischief, as I like to call it.
Yeah, exactly. And if not, it'll be just a cold rain.
Cold rain again.
But it does mean at least 2 weekends in a row where that will likely be an issue. Warm during the week and then not so great during the weekends. That's the way it works out.
Yes, it is.
All right. So did everyone digest that?
Yeah, I think so. Pick a number like you always do.
Oh, yeah. Type a number. Let's see. Let's do 74 minus 6 divided by 2. 74 minus 6 divided by 2.
I have to think about that one. Order of operations.
It's a classic number.
Well, y'all figure out that math problem.
I have no idea what it is. It's classic.
Austin's excited to get the duo.
Oh, good. Hi, Austin.
Adam asks, is Pitt as good as Chicago Med? I don't watch Chicago.
I don't watch Chicago Med, but Pitt is going to be a different kind of show because it is on a premium channel. So you're going to get, it obviously is going to have more of a language issue, but they show a bit more in the ER cases. Very, it can be very graphic in it, but at the same time, I'm learning a lot. Not that I'm self-diagnosing myself watching the Pitt, but it is pretty wild to see how, ER had limits being on network TV, but being on a premium channel, they've taken it to another level. I think that's what stands out. And the other aspect is that it's an amazing cast. They did a great job with the cast. Noah Weil is great, but the supporting cast he has is just as fantastic.
There you go. There's your show review for the day.
There you go.
Kelly's loving the duo. We appreciate it. Lori, same thing. Angela says it's sandals time. Yeah, especially early next week. Why not?
She's ready for sandals time, even if it's 40 outside. So
let's see. Colleen's watching us up in Chicagoland. Hello. Aaron thinks winter is over. All right. We'll see.
Aaron's not a fan of winter.
I can tell. Hey, Cameron's here. He came in.
Hey, Cameron.
How you doing? Right. We kind of mentioned this, talking about the severe weather season as we go into March. Do we see an active pattern? Yes. Severe, it'll just depend on that yo-yo effect we talked about.
Well, and this season is going to be very, very challenging because we've had, when it comes to the Pacific Ocean being La Nina, that's been a little easier to kind of forecast how severe weather season and hurricane seasons have played out. But we are flipping this year. The signal is overwhelming. We are flipping. It's happening now to El Nino. And there's still a lot of research that's still being done about what happens when you go from La Nina quickly to El Nino during the spring season. Do you end up with more severe weather or not? There have been some studies. I don't think it's been conclusive yet. I don't think we have enough years to look at historically, but there have been quite a few that indicate an uptick in Dixie Alley and in parts of the Ohio Valley that tends to happen. But when is that, March? Is that more into June? Good question. But that's what's going to be the catalyst this year, is how does the Pacific complete its flip, and that will determine, I think, our outlook this year and the hurricane season too.
Crispy says we need to turn down the thermostat over the next 10 days. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, here's the numbers we've got. We've got 34s. Yeah. We've got 71s, which I think that's the correct answer.
Okay.
I believe. 29s, 34s. So Sean just says it's confusing.
Yeah. You know, I don't even know what I said.
That's how tired we are.
You're all right.
Yes. Get a gold star.
The point is, I'm just making sure you all are getting that. That's
right.
That's make sure you're getting. I know some of you are lurkers. We call it in streaming. You just watch and don't say anything. I get it. We appreciate you as well.
We appreciate the kind words. Miss us since you moved back to Alabama. Hey, I lived in Alabama for a few years. It's a great place. Good people down there. So
good old Alabama.
We appreciate y'all still watching wherever you're at across this country of ours.
They need to put the shuttle, the needle back there on 65.
They are.
They are.
They're going to put up not the original one that they had to take down, but they are
putting up one.
The state, I believe, I saw a couple weeks ago, is going to start putting up a replica right there on 65 as you go right into Alabama, leaving Tennessee.
Yeah, it's such a highlight as a kid when you go when you're on your way to Florida and you pass that, you know where you're at.
Drove by every time on the way back to Huntsville. It was great.
Good stuff.
Yep.
All right, Carson. Well, I got to get ready.
Yes, you do.
For midday. But thank you.
Thanks for having me.
For joining. We need to do this more often.
Yes,
I know it's not always our schedules can line up, and sometimes these alert days get in the way, and the weather always
gets in the way.
Every time. But when we have moments, we want to take advantage of that, obviously, and talk to you guys. So
it feels great because I watched this blog when I was a kid. I know I'm going to make you feel old here. I like doing that. He doesn't, but I do. But to be able to be on this.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We got to go.
Pretty cool.
No, it's fine. I know I'm getting to that point now. I'm going to be hearing that a little more often. All right.
Anyway.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend with your snuggle buddy, or even if your snuggle buddy, of course, is your favorite animal in the house. Could be a tortoise. You never know. Enjoy time this weekend. And if you know someone that has been struggling, they maybe have lost a loved one recently, reach out to them, make sure they're okay, and offer to hang out with them to make sure they're not alone, and watch some TV shows and movies. And that can go a long way, especially with the rainy weather this weekend. It could be sometimes mentally taxing this weekend. So we talk about a lot of the positive of it and all the love, but there also can be a very stressful side to this weekend. So make sure you're taking care of each other. All right, guys, have a good one. Carson, I'll see you here. Will you be here tomorrow morning?
I will be here tomorrow morning. Remember, our schedules are all over the place with the Olympics.
So that's right.
We're done at 7 a.m. in the morning. We're on from 5 to 7 Saturday morning. So tune in if you're up early, and I'll be here tomorrow night too.
Sounds good. Thanks, Carson. See you guys on the flip. We'll be on coming up at midday.
Take care, everybody.